generations. And now, the power of two restores the one.
We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome back for another video. In today's Shoot the Sheev podcast, we are going over the month of April's Star Wars news. These are some of the more noteworthy ones that I think are pretty important. So we're going to go ahead and cover them. And then if there's any that we missed, let us know in the comments at the very end. So let's kick it off with something that's in the board games and card games news that I'm very glad, like as far as a Star Wars fan, I'm very glad that we got proven wrong with this one. If you remember, recently Disney came out with Disney Lorcana, and it was a smashing hit. And then I can't remember if it was, I think it was set 3 was the same release date as Star Wars Unlimited, the new Star Wars trading card game. That game I had heard no buzz about, really nobody was talking about it. And I had kind of wondered if it was going to be dead on arrival because it's also very, very similar to Lorcana if you look into the rules and stuff. But
well, and it released at like the same time as one of the new Lorcana sets, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said with the third set. It released alongside it.
Sorry, I must have missed that.
Oh, yeah, it released alongside one of the new sets for Lorcana, so I was kind of wondering if it was going to get overshadowed by it. So, people would see it and think, because Lorcana was hot. But supposedly, Star Wars Unlimited is the biggest success Fantasy Flight has had with their card game. So, I was pretty surprised by that. I have not seen them on the shelf. I don't think Sarah has seen them either.
No,
So
I have not.
I've been looking for the starter decks just so we can, play it and try it out. But I haven't seen starter decks. I haven't seen accessories. I haven't seen packs. And we go to, trading card places quite often. As far as like toy stores, we go to those with a bunch of board games and whatnot. We also go to the normal retailers and I check those sections. But yeah, it's a good success story from Star Wars Unlimited, and I'm happy for them. They have announced set 2 already, and so I'm hoping. I mean, I'm not huge into the trading card game community as far as like a diehard person that like goes out to tournaments and stuff. So I don't know how fast is too fast for turnaround on sets. So I'm hoping that Star Wars doesn't get into some sort of time loop where the cards are coming out too fast and it gets kind of diluted, because I kind of feel like that's happening with Lorcana. If you go on really any of the local game store sites and stuff, they're selling it cheaper and cheaper. What that means is that there's more and more supply and less demand. So I'm really hoping Lorcana didn't just kill themselves, basically, with releasing things too fast, but only time will tell. Any thoughts on all that stuff?
Do you know when the new Star Wars set is coming out? Or have they not released a date yet?
Let's see. Star Wars Unlimited set 2. Let's see if that brings it up.
So I'm curious. I think the next set of Lorcana is coming out. For some reason, I thought it was like August, but I don't think it's that far away. I think it's sooner. And so I'm wondering if it's going to be paired with that again, or if they're going to go their own way. It's very strange to me that we haven't been able to see any of it in the store, which I mean, I guess when Lorcana first came out, like the very first set, it was the same thing with that. You couldn't find it anywhere. And now, you know, Lorcana's been out for 8 months, I believe, or something like that. And uh now you can find it everywhere. All three sets of it. So maybe the Star Wars cards will kind of follow that same suit where it's highly coveted right now and it'll kind of maybe die down a little bit once the hype is down a little.
I can see that the second set can be pre-ordered in July. So if it came out, I think it was March, April, May, June, July. That's when pre-orders start. So it's gonna be a little bit longer than Lorcana, so that's kind of nice. Um,
Yeah.
whenever I do find the starter decks, I'm hoping to pick up one of those sets. But other than that, I can't even get my hands on a normal pack of cards.
Well, one of the things that Lorcana did that was wrong, at least in my opinion, was they released the second set before even really doing enough reprints of the first set for everybody to get their hands on it, or whoever wanted it to be able to get it. So I feel like that second set got released too early. And I think it'd be really nice with these Star Wars cards. You said it's called Star Wars Unlimited, right?
Yeah, unlimited.
I feel like it'd be really nice with the Star Wars Unlimited cards if they would do a reprint or at least produce enough that we can, you know, see it on the shelves before that next set comes out. So fingers crossed we can get some and at least be able to see it.
Yeah. And I want it to be successful too, because Star Wars, as far as trading card games, from an outside view looking in, because again, we played Star Wars Destiny and we collected a good chunk of the cards. And we played, you know, with the starter decks and stuff and had fun with it. But from what I remember, a lot of Star Wars trading card games don't last too long. They're around for a couple of years maybe, and then they disappear. So I'm hoping that they can, you know, hold on to their success with that one. Let's see. Let's do one other small one before we get to the main event, and then we'll have some others after that, of course. But one small thing is, I believe it's May 1st or May 5th, one of the two. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But there's a whole bunch of new Lego sets coming out. And if you're really big into Legos and you buy the like super expensive Star Wars sets, one of the new ones that was announced is the Lego TIE Interceptor. So not the TIE Fighter, not Darth Vader's, not the bomber, but the interceptors. So the one that is built for um, aggressive speed. It was introduced in, I believe it was introduced in Return of the Jedi during the Battle of Endor, as far as, you know, when it comes out for Star Wars timeline. But uh, yeah, we have not been ones to purchase those huge sets. I would absolutely love to, but dang, are they expensive. I mean,
I'm looking at the start or the excuse me, the Lego website trying to figure out what the date is. And I kid you not, it says launching May 1st to May 5th. And then there's a countdown that says it starts in 7 days, which would be May 1st. So I don't know why it says May 1st to May 5th. That's really strange. I guess that's when the event runs.
yeah, maybe they're releasing a handful each day. That way they don't just blow through all of them on the first day? Question mark?
Looks like it's early access for the TIE Interceptor, May 1st through May 3rd, if you're a Lego Insiders member. And then I guess it looks like they're doing at least a couple each day, maybe? I know that's what you just said, but I'm going off the website here because it shows two of them that are coming May 1st, the AAT and the Trade Federation Troop Carrier. But then it just says look for the rest between May 1st and May 5th. So I'm not sure.
which is kind of interesting because the two sets that Sarah just mentioned are the sets that are part of the Phantom Menace anniversary. Um, quick side note, if you don't have your tickets, go and get them because that weekend is not this weekend, but next weekend. So go and support that movie with its re-release. But Lego is doing a handful of sets for that movie too. And what's interesting to me is we were at Walmart like a week ago or something, and one of them was out. And so I bought it. It was the Pod Racer diorama with Anakin and Sebulba. And so some of these sets you can find early. And I mean, usually when you go to bring those things to the checkout, they'll be like, oh, that's pre-street, you can't have it, and they take it from you. But it actually rang up. So
The two that I mentioned you won't want to purchase because they are actually free gifts with purchase, depending on how much you spend.
all right, well then don't purchase those. Yeah, so Lego usually does some sort of thing around Star Wars Day where it's, if you spend this much money, you get this free Lego set, and it's a little small thing. Although there was one that I really wanted before, but no way was I spending the money. I think it was when the AT-AT came out, the like $700 or $800 one, you get a free Lego
850.
Skywalker hilt. So I thought that was super cool. I've always thought if they made Lego hilts as a collection, I would totally buy those because I like collecting the lightsabers, but they have a different marketing strategy with those. So we'll just have to see if that ever comes to fruition. So yeah, that's the small little thing on the Legos. Definitely love doing them. As I said, I already bought the one set that I really wanted out of the bunch. The other one that I would like to get, but I don't know if I will, is the Sith Infiltrator, Darth Maul's ship. So we'll have to see. Have you ever wondered what it's like to grow up during the prequel era? Do you wonder what type of merchandise was around then? How different was it than it is now? Check out our videos on this channel where we talk about the merchandise of the Phantom Menace and the merchandise of Attack of the Clones. They are here on this channel. The Phantom Menace is my first video ever on YouTube, so there's a special place in my heart for that one, so please, if any, check that out. Now back to our show. But let's move on to the main event. The big stuff that came out this month is video game related news. The smaller things within the video game news is one, Aspyr has mentioned that Knights of the Old Republic remake is still alive and well. There's been a lot of things that have been floating around saying that this game might get canceled, especially since Aspyr has been kind of like they're having these subtle hints where it might seem like this game might get canceled. Like I think the trailer was pulled at one point from YouTube, so you couldn't watch it anymore. But it was something to do with the licensing for the music on that trailer. They didn't have the rights anymore, so that's why they pulled it. But they still had the licensing rights for the game. So it's kind of like, all these things are kind of mixed messages. But they did make a statement. They said it is alive and well, which is very exciting. We know that Aspyr kind of had an issue with the Battlefront re-release, the collections. So people are a little worried about Knights of the Old Republic. But I think that's kind of a different beast that they're tackling. For one, pretty sure that game is going to be single player only, which most of the bugs from the Battlefront collection was in the multiplayer. So I really don't think that's going to be a huge issue. And they're building their own game from the ground up. So I kind of feel like because it's their own project, they might be a little extra careful, maybe. But it's really cool to know it's still coming out because I was really looking forward to that game. The other small one before we get to the big video game news is that Fortnite is having another Star Wars event. Um, I think they've had a Star Wars event probably every year or every May the last couple of years where they would have, Star Wars stuff happening in Fortnite. We haven't played Fortnite in a while, so I don't know if they've evolved it at all, but I know they usually have like a lightsaber event where you can find lightsabers on the map and then duke it out. And sometimes you even get like force powers and stuff too. So um, I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun. We, at least me personally, I don't really think I have the time to cover that, just because we got
We're
so many
seeing
other
a
things.
lot of we're seeing a lot of movies that weekend and those couple weeks right around there, doing movie reviews for our discussions for the channel too. So I don't know how much time we're gonna have
Right.
before.
And we do have Star Wars gameplay coming out from a different game that came out this year. We will be having the full game of Dark Forces being covered here on the channel. And I decided to do a little experiment with it. I've had this idea for gaming videos where if it's going to be segmented, maybe have some sort of cool intro. So it was kind of like, the introduction to a show or something like that. And so I put a little piece in the beginning of those videos to just try and test it out. If you end up checking those videos out, I would love feedback on those intros to know, is that something we should keep around? Is it something we should keep doing? Just because I thought it was super cool and a lot of fun. So we'll check back in on you guys with that once those videos start rolling out. So uh, yeah, let's get right onto the big stuff for the month. So, and honestly, some people might get mad at me for part of my opinion with this that's going on, but that's totally fine. The big discussion is on Star Wars Outlaws. If you don't know what Star Wars Outlaws is, it is the new Ubisoft game coming out in August that it puts you in the middle of being a scoundrel and you're going around doing scoundrel things. And it takes place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, so it's a familiar time frame that should be really cool and interesting to explore. We did get a story trailer for Outlaws, which was really nice to see. And that definitely made me very excited. However, at the very end of this trailer, I'm pretty sure that's when they announced the different editions of the game, and this is where people went berserk. So if you buy the regular version of the game, so the $70 version of the game, and you pre-order it, you will get access to the base game and the pre-order goodies. I don't remember what those are off the top of my head. They're probably just cosmetics, stuff like that. If you buy, just double check my numbers. I'm pretty sure it's 100. Dun, dun, dun.
It was interesting to me that they had a
Oh,
story trailer, like specifically calling it a story trailer. I don't know that I've seen that before for video games. Usually it's just, here's a trailer, you know?
yeah, it's because they want to. So, like in the past, they've given us stuff where they really don't tell. Like they show some of the features that they're trying to accomplish for the game in the past, but then we don't really know what it's about. So that's what this trailer was for. Um, the middle tier, the gold edition of the game is $110. And what you get with this $110 is you get all the stuff from the base or standard edition of the game. But in addition, you get the season pass, which has, I think, 2 extra missions with it. Plus, you get 3-day early access. You get to play it 3 days earlier than the people that bought the standard edition.
So you get to be the guinea pig to test out all the bugs, is what I'm hearing, and you're paying extra for it.
This is true. That is part of the what people are talking about. Um, Before we get into the big thing that's going on, I want to talk about the last edition that they brought up, because there's the standard edition, there's the gold edition, and then there's the ultimate edition. So this comes with the base game, the season pass, the 3 days early access, just like the gold edition. Then you also get a digital art book, and you get 2 cosmetic bundles. So like if you want to, use those cosmetics on your characters, have different outfits, Great. That bundle is $130. So why? So first of all, people were upset about this before they even knew about the second thing that really made them upset. What made people upset is that, there's these three different editions. They're trying to get like $130 for, the ultimate edition, $110 for the gold edition, and people are fixating on that we're basically paying more for the early access. That's part of it, but you're also getting the season pass. And I know some people have their trust issues with Ubisoft. That's fine. But the season pass is like when you're buying the gold edition, it is essentially buying the base edition or standard edition and then buying the season pass with it. That's pretty much what you're paying for. So if you don't care about the season pass just yet, just get the base game, try it out, and if you want the season pass later, buy it. What do you lose out of that? Just the 3-day early access. Great. But what really made people mad is that it was revealed that there is a Jabba the Hutt mission that is considered DLC that you can only access on day one if you get the season pass edition. So if you buy the gold edition or the ultimate edition. Now, people.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can you not buy a regular edition and then buy a season pass? Because that gold edition is an extra $40. Is that how much a season pass is, really?
I
'Cause I
think
know that comes with a couple extra missions, but $40 is a lot. I'd rather buy the standard. Is somebody if you were trying to save money, but you still wanted that Jabba the Hutt portion and you wanted the season pass, I can't, like, if I think about like Fortnite and how much their season passes were and stuff, I don't remember what it was, but I can't imagine it being $40. I feel like it was maybe like 15 or something.
so. A couple of things with that. Fortnite passes are a lot different than these kinds because Fortnite passes are like, 90 or 120-day content, and then you move on and you have to buy the next one. It's not exact. It's kind of apples to oranges in a way. It's not apples to apples. But yes, this is where I might upset some people. We're making a connection here. So Sarah asked, how much is that season pass? They don't show how much it's going to cost for Outlaws. But if you go and look at their other most recent title that just came out, Avatar, their season pass was $40. Now, what's interesting to me, I'm just going to say it because I did it, whatever. I bought the gold edition for Avatar because I knew I wanted the season pass and I knew I wanted the levels. I don't remember when that game came out. It was at least a couple months ago, but
It was supposed to be like the holiday game, like early December, I think.
Was it December? Maybe January, somewhere in there.
I believe it was when you were on vacation, so I think it was
Oh.
December.
Yeah, so that probably was December. So I remember reading that they're supposed to have their DLCs come out, I think, this summer and this fall. So they are coming, but they aren't here yet. So what I'm trying to say is, even though you buy the season pass, you still have to wait a decent amount of time to get that content. Is it worth $40? We don't really know. But I know in the past, I love playing DLCs for games. So
when you say DLC and season pass, because you got the season pass for Avatar, does that mean you get the DLC for free later?
yep.
Oh, okay.
So instead of buying so there's two DLCs, okay? My guess is what's going to happen is if you buy them individually, it'll probably be like $25. So 25 and 25 will make 50 when the two come out. But if you buy a season pass, it'll be a flat rate of 40.
I'm
So
putting the pieces together.
where am I going with this? Well, Avatar did this exact same business model and nobody gave a rip. because nobody cared about Avatar apparently. Like nobody was talking about that game, but people are acting like Ubisoft is doing this for the first time, and because it's Star Wars, they're up in arms. They've done it for Assassin's Creed for years, and people still buy that stuff. And so I don't fully understand why all of a sudden people are like super upset about it. But I mean, there's been misinformation. People are assuming that this Jabba the Hutt mission that you can't access unless you get the season pass on day one means that you can't access Jabba the Hutt. That's not true at all. Ubisoft came out and said, "Hey, Jabba is part of the overall game. It's not he's not behind a paywall. So if you buy the base game." You will be able to interact with Jabba the Hutt and decide if you want to work with him or betray him, whatever you want. They've talked about that stuff already. So I know, Sarah, I know you do not either buy or pay much attention to season passes since you've been asking questions about them. But I guess from an outsider looking in, do you have any thoughts on what's going on with this pricing?
Um,
She's
I
she,
feel like
was gonna say, she
what?
says, I am just blown away that I just found out how much you're spending on Outlaws now.
No, DLC, like the idea of buying DLC after a game has been out, that idea has been around for a very long time. It's not new. I feel like because they call it a season pass and you prepay for it, so it makes the game seem really expensive up front. That's what makes it seem so crazy and like out of the question. Why would I spend that much money on a video game? I know, sometimes I think about like back to when we were kids and games were completely on the disc and whatever was on there was on there. That, we talked before, I think in a previous podcast about how you couldn't rush things, you couldn't release games that were half done because once the disc was out, that's what it was. So what that also means is that there wasn't DLC or anything like that. So I guess the question is, are the games getting smaller because they're releasing DLC later? Or is it really just like a game and a half, where you're buying a game and then you're getting like an extra, portion on top of it later? So I feel like there's some sort of, it's probably somewhere in the middle where is it too much money? Sure. But is it something that's like a crazy new concept? I don't think so. I think this has been in the works for a very long time. They're just changing the name and making you pay for it ahead of time.
I will say, I do think it is a bad business move for them to say on day one, there's going to be a DLC that can only be accessed if you get the season pass, being the Java mission. I do believe if something is complete, so the Java mission is there, it will be accessible on day one to people that pay for it. If that is built and ready to go, that should be part of the base game. I 100% agree with that idea.
I
Um,
would agree with that, yeah.
but if they release a game and it does really well and they decide, well, we have plans for DLC, we're gonna kind of base it off of the response, and then they make some later, 100% willing to support it if I like the game. This game is gonna be Star Wars, so I'm already, understanding that I'm gonna dive right in. I think the only Star Wars game as of like in the last 10 years or whatever that I've thought, ooh, I maybe this one isn't quite there is Squadrons. And a lot of people really like Squadrons. Me, I thought the controls were messy. But everything else that's come out for Star Wars, I've actually enjoyed. So um, I'm looking forward to it. That a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
go
there's
back on my statement just a little bit here. What's scary to me about the season pass idea versus DLC is that when they announce DLC after launch, and you get to decide whatever that trailer of information they give you, if that's worth paying or not, you don't know what you're getting with the season pass. So how do you know that's worth your money? How do you know it's something you actually want access to aside from this one Job of the Hut mission that you know of right now? Thinking back to your Avatar game where you said some of it's coming out this summer and some of it's coming out next fall, like 9 months after launch. How do you know if that's actually worth your money or not? They already took it and spent it.
You to a point you don't. The so the bad, like I said, the bad side of that is you don't know. You don't know if it's gonna be an absolute banger. You don't know if it's gonna be a bust. And so that is a risk that you take. I will be honest with that. The last time I did that with a Star Wars game was probably the original Battlefront from EA. So I still remember the day that game came out. Super stoked. I went to Best Buy and they had the games and then the season pass right next to it. I was a little blown away that the season pass was like 40 or 50 bucks, but I still bought it because I was like, it's Star Wars, I'm going to enjoy it. And I will say, each one of those DLCs was amazing. And so I think what you have to do with Ubisoft here is you have to look at the track record. So, like, look at Avatar and what ends up happening with their DLCs, but those ones aren't out yet. So look at Assassin's Creed. How much support did those games get when they came out, and how much DLC was there? Did they get, good content? Did people respond well to it? I think that's really the only way that you could somewhat feel good about, if you're indecisive about it, is looking at their history. But I don't know. I just know I'm excited for it. So, and I'm also a firm believer in if they deserve the money, they should get it. Like, if I want more Star Wars video games to come out, I have to speak with my money. They're not going to care if I come on YouTube and say, good job. If they don't have money to support it, they're not going to make it. So, but you brought up something that was another thing that people were picking on with the game. And it is eye-opening, but it's honestly what switched me from being pretty much 100% physical media to switching over to quite a few digital titles. And that is if you look on the game. So if when you go to pre-order it or whatever and you see the cover of the game, on the bottom left-hand corner, there is a little blurb there that says requires internet access. And so that's just leaning into even further, unfortunately, where gaming is going. So if you buy the disc, all you have is the ability to unlock the download. I did an experiment with one of my games, okay? I had the game physical copy and it was on sale for like $5 on PlayStation. I don't remember what game it was, what one I started with. But basically, I thought to myself, I'm going to do this experiment. I'm going to buy it for $5 on there, and I'm going to sell this copy for, I don't know, 10, whatever. And so when I bought the digital copy, mind you, I already had the game installed on my console before I did this. Except, when you go to push the button to play the game, it says, please insert disc. When I bought it digitally, not one thing changed except for asking for the disc. It doesn't ask for the disc anymore. It didn't download anything extra. When I put that disc into the console, what happened was it said, hey, PlayStation Store, download the game, except for if they go to push the button to play this game, I got to be in the console. So you only have a key nowadays. You don't have the game on the disc. That happens for if you have a multiplayer game, as soon as there is an update, your disc is worthless. The only time that it is going to be worth it to you is if it's 100% single player without any updates, which is rare nowadays.
I don't know that exists anymore.
The only time that I think I've ever seen it as of late is Nintendo first party games. They do that a lot where because usually when I bought physical games and I put them in, they immediately had an update on day one. But whenever I get, like when we bought Mario versus Donkey Kong or Princess Peach Showtime, I put them in the thing and it says there's no updates. Let's play. I'm like, okay, someone's getting it right. So you may wonder why do companies do that? It's because this is how gaming works nowadays, if you don't know. Going gold. So if a company says Star Wars Outlaws has gone gold, that means they are now printing the discs. At that point in time, they're putting whatever is done on the project, available out there, and they're putting a key on that disc so that when the time comes around to, you buy it and you put it in, you have a key to get that download. What that allows them to do is, so if they're gold for like a month or two, that gives them another month or two to work on the game and then release a patch right before the game comes out. So yes, they're printing the discs and taking the time to do that and put an unlock for you on it, but they're not putting the full game on there. Why? That would take way more time. Look at Call of Duty. They had a game disc come out that had probably, I think, less than a gigabyte of data on it, and then when you put it into your console, it's over 100. Why? Because it's a key. So think about it, people. There's a lot of things that people are upset about, and I feel like, again, because it's Star Wars, I think people are getting extra angry about it. And the last time that people, really stood up against game developers for Star Wars was Battlefront 2, and they did make a change. This isn't microtransactions when it comes to the licensing and stuff like that, and the downloading of the game. So I don't think that's going to change. What you could speak up about is the microtransactions with the season pass. But again, Ubisoft's been doing it for years, and nobody's batted an eye. But now they're all upset about it.
You know what bothers me? The price difference between the gold and ultimate, what is that? 110 to, I think you said 140, 130. So $20. And you said you get like 2 skin packs, which is okay, sure, that's something. Then you said a digital art book. Like, are you kidding me? We're paying for digital art books now.
Yeah,
Why is that even a thing?
Ain't nobody gonna, like, if they tell me I'm gonna get a digital art book, I do not look at it. There's one reason why when Jedi Fallen Order came out, there was a standard edition and a deluxe edition. I think it was like a $10 difference, and the difference was you got a couple extra skins, and you got to watch some behind the scenes videos and how they made the video game. You know what happened the next day? Whoever, that one person that decided to be the sacrifice, uploaded those videos to YouTube so you could watch them. So,
And we thank you, good sir.
yeah,
we look
thank
forward
you.
to next.
Thank you for your service, your $10 that you saved all of us. So, yeah. The situation is, I think, up in flames right now. A lot of people are upset. I think it is starting to calm down a little bit. It is not going to stop me from playing that game on day one. Maybe even day -3, because I'm really thinking about playing it on day -3. Just because I know I'm going to want the season pass. People can hate me, whatever. But like I said, my main argument, this has been happening for years. Stop it. I digress.
What else? What else we got in form of news? Because I feel like Outlaws, it was something exciting. There's some things happening about it, but overall, we're ready to play the game. We're excited.
Yeah. Have you ever wondered what Amazon coffins are and what they're full of? Well, we got you covered here on the channel. Check out our playlist of our Amazon coffin unboxings, where Sarah and I open up boxes that have Amazon returns, and we share with all of you what we get in each of those boxes. if you ever wanted to get into liquidation and want to know what types of things you can find, check us out. Now back to our show. We're going to end it on something that's good, something that we're super excited about, and I'm pretty sure the entire Star Wars community is excited about. And that is, we got the announcement for Tales of the Empire, which is coming out early May. So basically what's going to happen is Bad Batch is going to wrap up, and then we're going to get Tales of the Empire. And I am super stoked for that show. I don't know how many times, well, we had asked for Tales of the Sith, but we got Tales of the Empire. That's a good second choice. So it looks like we are going to be learning more about Morgan, so the witch lady from Ahsoka, and Barriss, I believe is her name. She was way more featured in the Clone Wars, and we kind of see what happened to her because it was a bit of a mystery. What happened to that girl? And we get to learn a bit more about the Inquisitors. We're gonna see. I'm pretty sure we saw Vader in the previews.
I think so.
My memory is fading on me. Definitely the Grand Inquisitor. I'm very excited to see him come back and in his natural form, Kenobi. So that's exciting.
I'm
And
just gonna take a second and say I didn't really like Tales of the Jedi. I know a lot of people did. It just really wasn't for me. Just to simplify my opinion, I found it boring. I didn't really like it. I didn't really understand it. This Tales of the Empire looks awesome, and I am really excited for this to come out. So I think it's gonna be good.
the last thing I want to mention about it, just because I thought this was super cool, and I think it's going to be interesting. And I thought it was on the main poster, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think it's on the main poster. So in Tales of the Jedi, at the very end, spoilers, people. In the very end, when Ahsoka is kind of like out in a farm and trying to lay low, there's a Sith Inquisitor that shows up and attacks her, and she takes care of it in like 2 seconds, whatever. But that character was really cool, and I was disappointed to see that they were killed right away. That character is in the advertisements, so we might learn more about that character in this show, which is what I think I'm most excited about. But I'm ready to be hurt again if he's only in it, or he or she, whoever, is in it for like 60 seconds. But I'm looking forward to the show because I really enjoyed the fact that, and I think you have to be a little bit more of a hardcore fan to pick up on these things. But there was a lot of stuff that was happening with Tales of the Jedi where if you listen to what they're talking about, that you can pick up where are these things happening in the timeline of the movies and what connections can we make. So like one of the big things I loved was when I think they were talking to Dooku in the library and people are being like, you hear that crazy Qui-Gon? He's talking about a Sith returning. Like Dooku was hearing people making fun of his former apprentice, and Dooku knew that, Qui-Gon was probably right. And so it really embraced the reason why, Dooku eventually left and why he turned on them. So so like little things like that. I'm looking forward to seeing what they fill in the gaps with here. I'm hoping we see a bit more of how Thrawn met Morgan. And I believe in Ahsoka, we hear Thrawn saying something about he owes Morgan for some reason. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that in this show. So I'm curious to see what happens. But is there anything else you wanted to mention about the news this week before we wrap it up?
It's not new, but I heard that blue milk is out now, so I'm very excited to try and go find it. If
If
you
we
found it, tried it, let us know. I want to know how it compares to the blue milk that's actually in the parks.
If we find it, we will do a YouTube short on what it tastes like and if it tastes any good. So be on the lookout for that if we do get access. But that is our Shoot the Sheev Star Wars monthly news episode. Maybe we upset you. Maybe you agree with us. Maybe you hear us out on our points, but it is what it is. So if you enjoyed this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you are notified when the next one drops. We definitely do news segments every month, but if there's a Star Wars topic we want to hit on, we go ahead and add those in there too. So be on the lookout for those. Also, we have merch of Shoot the Sheev. So if you love this podcast, make sure to go in the description of the video where it says like support us or buy our merch. I forget what it's titled. And there's a link there so you can get some of our cool shirts. I love it, like the shoot or the Sheev shirt where he's got his lightning. Oh, absolutely love that one. But we got a couple other ones as well, so check those out. Drop us a like if you liked the video and drop us a comment letting us know your thoughts on the news this week. Is there anything that we missed that you think is important? And if we did, let us know in the comments. And then as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.